All right. Well, welcome to a special holiday edition of the R&R Show. I am your host, Michael Roope, and that is my co-host on the other side, William Rumsey. Hello, William.
Howdy.
All right. Well, listen, the R&R Show wanted to put a nice little tidy bow on the high school football season 2020. Dearborn County, we decided, William and I, to do the All R&R Team, kind of reminiscent of the All Madden team. Am I right, William?
Yeah. And funny you say that because every time I think of John Madden, I think of a big turkey or a turducken, he used to say.
Yeah.
So a nice little segue into the All R&R Team.
Yeah, and, obviously Dearborn County had a lot of good football players this year, and all the teams made some noise, and their respective teams made some noise in their own way, and they had a lot of big moments and a lot of big plays, and we wanted to, William and I wanted to honor those players, and the first ever All R&R team. So without further, William, you want to start on the offensive side?
Yeah, so we're going to give the format. We'll do we're going to do the second team first, correct?
Well, how did you want to do it? Do you want to?
Maybe we should have had a pre-production meeting.
Well, on the fly, but if we just do offense and then we just do a position, then we name the first team, then the second team. They do each position. I think that would work out the best.
So name the first team first.
Yeah, and we'll just say team first, and right after at the second team.
Okay. So at the quarterback position, first team we have Mr. Garrett Yoon from Lawrenceburg, and the second team we have Mr. Ryan Bond from East Central.
Yes, and obviously first team. I don't think that was any surprise for anybody in the county. Seeing the type of production Yoon put up this year. He was lights out, both throwing the ball and running the ball.
Yeah.
And leading that Tiger team to over 40 yards, over 40 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, and you've seen a lot of high school football in your day, and you talked pretty much most of the time we saw Garrett play that he threw probably the prettiest ball that you've seen in high school football. I think he had complete command of that offense. Just a great year for him. Like you said, dual threat, and I'm really looking forward to him playing next year. We talked about, potential Mr. Football in the state of Indiana. That's big time. So when you're talking like that, I mean, hopefully he puts it all together and can win that Mr. Football next year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see his senior year, and not only excited for him, but excited to see if he can lead the Tigers to a state title, which I think is all systems go in Tigerland for a state title. So
yeah, and I think that last game, wasn't the greatest performance for the Tigers. I think that'll, you can only build off that. Makes you get back, practice harder. They know they've got some things to work on, so hopefully they come back stronger next year.
Yep. And then on the second team, did you mention second team yet?
I did. Ryan Bond.
At second team, we had Ryan Bond, and Ryan Bond, his career as a starter is second to none. I know he only had the one loss last year against Mooresville. They went undefeated during the regular season, had the one loss, and then this year, there a couple losses during the regular season weren't too bad. They really, Indianapolis Chatard, which is playing today for a title. I don't know if they've won it. And then they lost to Ron Colley by a touchdown, which just capped off the 4A title yesterday. So
yeah, steamrolled the team they played at, what was it, 49-7?
Yeah. So I mean, not a bad career at any stretch of the imagination. And and he was a heady quarterback, and he understood he had the players around him, and he got them in and out of the right plays and right calls, and just a true talent. And I'd like to see his win percentage against some of the former Trojans, because I'm sure he has a pretty good all-time winning percentage.
And he won the first D1 Performer Player of the Game at South Dearborn's Backman Field.
That he did.
That's historical, right?
That is historical. So, not only does he get to, carry that into his, next phase of his life, but also, getting second team All R&R.
And I think you can really, the many times that we talk to Coach Miners, you can just tell that he had a really special place in his heart for Ryan. He was a leader on the team, and I think they will really miss him next year.
Yep.
So yeah, good year,
yep.
Great year.
Big Phil with that type of leadership. So going on to our next category is running backs, and we will give two first team, all R&R squads to one Lawrenceburg's Adam Bird, and then one East Central's Josh Ringer. Those are our two first teamers, and then second team is headed up by South Dearborn's C.J. Rogers and East Central's Hunter Soanes. Talk a little bit about Lawrenceburg's Adam Bird.
Yeah, so, a couple years ago he was playing QB for the Tigers, and then he, turned over to the running back position. Just a great year, dual threat in the fact that he catches the ball really well, and is a good hard-nosed runner. I think, we got to see him on the field. Not the biggest of guys, but he's got some power behind his legs and can really hit people. But a solid year.
Yep. And that's coming off of a solid junior year too.
Yep.
So he's had a definitely a solid career to be proud of. The other first teamer, Josh Ringer. Now he is a freshman. Not too many freshmen will ever make the All R&R first team, but Josh definitely is well deserving. He basically averaged 10 yards a carry, which is big time. And when you think about him as a freshman, that kind of production as a yardage per carry, there is some big things in store for Mr. Josh Ringer. And I'm excited to see some of the records that he's going to track down over his next 3 years.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Before he actually stepped foot on a varsity field and for the running back position, you had prepped me that, hey, there's this freshman kid that they're talking about. He potentially can come up to the varsity, Josh Ringer. But you said you'd seen him play when your son was playing back in the day. And then when he got on the field, I believe it was the Moeller game. Was it? No, it was the next game.
He played. That's his first game experience. It just shows you what a dynamic athlete he was. He got his first experience on the defensive side. I remember was against none other than the Moeller Crusaders, which they were not scared to throw a freshman into a big time game like that, and he delivered in that game too.
But yeah, I don't think it was Moeller because I think Fike was still in for Moeller. He had a great game, but it was the next game we were up there I think wasn't it his first or second carry, ripped off like a 65-yarder, and he looked like a deer running out there. Just, very long strides. It's great runner.
Yeah, he glides. That's for sure. But again, we're going to be covering this guy for many years to come, and I'm looking forward to watching his career unfold. Now, second team, we've got a C.J. Rogers from South Dearborn, a very low to the ground, hard-nosed runner, and he was definitely churning out some yards for the Knights and, Rain Ballard's crew up there in Aurora.
Yeah, and we got to see him when we went down there for the Lawrenceburg game. Really good runner.
Yep. And then, second team on the other side of the running back was somebody near and dear to our heart, Hunter Soanes. And we can't say enough about Hunter and how much we enjoyed, spending some time with him, obviously preseason. But, this guy he's done nothing but everything that's ever been asked of him, whether it been the year before thrusting into the as a linebacker or when Fight goes down, being thrusted into the the role. And East Central asked a lot of Hunter, and Hunter never makes a peep and just does his job.
Yeah, and when we were on the sidelines, you'd brought up that his screen game, how they implement him in the East Central screen game is really good. And then I started noticing that, and he is really good at. So they'll have that. He was a junior, right?
He was a junior.
So they'll have that for next year as kind of to offset Ringer. And then also he's a Cowboys fan. He told us, that's a bad beat.
Yes, that is that. So now he has to deal with the Andy Dalton misery.
Man.
So, but now let's go to the outside of the hash marks. We got two receivers, some first teamers. Talk a little bit about that, William. Who's our two first teamers for the receiver position?
Yeah, so we have two Lawrenceburg guys. We've got Daya Patel and Aiden Gilmore. I think we did more Lawrenceburg games this year than any other team. So we got to see those guys up close and personal, and man, they were great.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Coach Kaniga had touted Patel, preseason, said he was excited about what he was going to bring to the season, and I got to admit that Patel delivered in every way. He definitely, it didn't matter if he was, catching the short outs or going long.
Yeah.
He made the catch possible. And then on the other side of the receiver, Aiden Gilmore, boy, I've never seen so many contested caught balls by a receiver than what Gilmore did this year, because we've watched quite a few, and they were really, really good receptions. And it seemed like he was like floating back in the corner of the end times than not, catching a touchdown. And that had to be and that led into what was a good season for Yoon, and to be able to lean on two receivers like Patel and Gilmore.
Yeah, I think and Yoon trusts both of those guys.
Yep.
To make plays. So if they're semi open, he's going to go at them.
Yep. Now, second team, who we got on second team, William?
So we have South Dearborn Knight, Blake Bartley, and East Central Trojan, Nate Busing.
Yep. And, Nate actually is a neighbor of mine. He lives right behind me, and I've seen him out there.
And you put him on the second team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, well, listen, it's hard to there's hard to pick spots to move when you had Gilmore and Patel up there. But
we could have, most teams run 3 receiver sets nowadays,
Great kid. Nate, I always see him out here doing the little things, working on his game, getting his conditioning in, running around the neighborhood and stuff. Just a great, not only a ball player, but a great, humble kid. So I expect a lot of big things because he's an underclassman. So I expect some really, really big things, next year from Nate.
Yeah, it's tough being a receiver in the Trojan offense when they don't really highlight the passing game. But, he put together a solid season even in that offense.
Yes. No, and then obviously Blake, we got our first taste of Blake, preseason, and they weren't kind of sure where they were going to put him. They were running him as a running back a little bit, as a receiver, and I know Father Andy had to be pretty pleased with his production, for the Knights.
Yep, solid year.
Yep, very, very solid. So let's get to tight end. I'll have to go ahead and name the first team tight end, and I think to no one's surprise, this will be to Lawrenceburg's Braden York. I thought he played phenomenal, and I tell you what, he was quite nimble for a big man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He made some, he made catching the ball for a big man look good. And then for second team, we have East Central's Trey Warner. Trey obviously a solid tight end, and he was a big presence in that run game for EC. He obviously doesn't probably get as much credit as some of those big name guys, but I'm telling you, Trey did an outstanding job and opened up a lot of holes for the the Trojans' running attack.
Yeah.
So go on into our offensive linemen. We're going to kind of break this as a group. So you get 5 first-team offensive linemen. Would you like to go over those, William?
Yeah, do you want me to go over the first team?
Yeah, let's go with the first team.
Okay, so we had Luke Collinsworth, Ashton Craig, Jackson Goodall, Casey McQueen, and Ethan Paris.
Yeah.
So Luke from East Central, Ashton from Lawrenceburg, Jackson from South Dearborn, Casey from East Central, and Ethan from Lawrenceburg. So we had representatives from all 3 schools, which I like. And there are some absolute stud offensive linemen in Dearborn County.
Oh, yeah, and some maulers. I'm telling you right now, we've got a lot of, college athletes on that line, starting with the big cat, Luke Collinsworth, effectively known as the Big Cat. Obviously he led the way with, that Trojan ground game, committed to obviously a nice top 10 school in UC. And I'm excited to see him play at the next level because I think he has a outstanding career in front of him.
Agreed, yeah. And when we'd go to East Central games, just watching his, because he had the big name, so I paid attention to his play. Watching him on the line, I mean, he would clear lanes. And then, towards the end of the year, they started putting him on the defensive side, and he excelled there as well.
Absolutely.
So, pretty solid athlete.
Yeah, and you pair him with Casey McQueen, and those two really anchored that Trojan line and blew up holes. And it didn't matter who was back there for the Trojans because, heck, I think there's been about 10 people back there running the ball this year for the Trojans. And it didn't matter who was running the ball. Those guys were, definitely clearing some lanes for them. Now, on Lawrenceburg's side, we had, my cousin, Ashton Craig, leading the Tiger crew with Ethan Paris, 2 big names, obviously, and Ethan and Ashton. And I know that they're both, Ashton's, he's an underclassman, is getting a lot of big time looks, from a lot of colleges. So he'll be obviously.
He's your cousin?
He is.
When did that happen?
What? Did I keep that under wraps all year?
I believe so. This is the first I've heard of it.
Well, I didn't want to.
Hey, regardless if he was your cousin, brother, whatever, he's a stud offensive. He would have gotten all R&R regardless.
He is. My wife and his father are cousins.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We got a little R&R bloodline.
Yeah, the bloodline in the Roope Craig family is pretty solid in football.
That's right. So, but obviously, besides Ashton, Ethan Paris, boy, I mean, he's had a tremendous career. He's going to be taking his game to the next level also, and I'm excited to continue to watch his career. And then,
he was a Willoughby Supply Big Stick winner.
He was.
He is a big boy. We went down there, I mean, sticking my mitt and his big mitts, it got lost.
Yes. And Ethan's just as pleasant to be around off the field as he is, has that mean streak on it. And it's, it's always a pleasure when you got good kids like Ethan and Ashton.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got SD. You had Jackson Goodall anchoring that night line. And obviously, in talking to, Coach Ballard, he couldn't say enough good things. And obviously, SD, athletic director Ryan Walston also had nothing but good praise for Jackson and his work ethic. And, obviously, it was good to have somebody with his, ability anchoring that night line.
Now, is he what year is he?
That I don't know. I'll have to double check to see if he's an under or senior. But regardless, he did a whale of a job. I'm watching some of those one-on-one matchups that he had in some of the games that we covered for the Knights. Now, second team, we've got, and I'll just go through this list real quick, William. We've got Noah Hauser, Tyler Dickerson, and Austin Cox for East Central. We have Logan Lang from Lawrenceburg and then Andy Doherty for South Dearborn. All those guys were solid. I believe Noah Hauser was a big stick winner with his pancake block.
He was.
Yeah, and he was all smiles when he joined the R&R crew. But all those guys, tremendous jobs in their own right. And really, you could make a case probably for all of them nipping at first team honors because they all did really well of a job.
Yeah, I know Andy Doherty. He battled an injury all year, so that kind of put him behind the 8 ball. But he was solid the year before. So
yeah, and that's unfortunate part of the game because I know they wanted a lot. They expected big things out of Andy. When Andy was on the field, he delivered. Unfortunately, he got hit by an injury bug, which it happens. So, tremendous job by all those guys. They all could. We could make a case for any of those guys being, obviously first teamers too. So, do you want to go to the other side of the ball, William?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll start off with defensive ends. Defensive ends, we've got first team, we've got Austin Ashcraft from South Dearborn, and we have Jackson Eibolt from East Central. Tremendous years. Just talking a little bit about Ashcraft, I know that SD line when we talked preseason with Coach Ballard, he said that would be their calling card, and he wasn't lying. That line was very tenacious, and they really hung their hat probably on that line. And I believe Austin was another one of his fellows that we'll mention here in a second, really anchored that line. And then, Jackson Eibolt was tremendous. I know speaking to defense coordinator, Coach Kirchgassner, they had very high praise for Jackson Eibolt's, IQ. Defensive IQ, and he really anchored that Trojan line for East Central.
Good deal. So on the second team, we have East Central Trojan Ryan Bovard and Lawrenceburg Tiger Wyatt Hartman.
Yes, Ryan Bovard. His father Clay graduated with me, and I know that. Ryan is a extremely hard worker, and in talking to Coach Kirchgassner, they were very pleased with his production. And, I believe he's still got another year or two maybe to play. So we're expecting even bigger things out of, Ryan next year. And then, Wyatt Hartman, you want to talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, I just, every time, like I said before, we saw a lot of Lawrenceburg this year, and it just seemed like Wyatt was in on a lot of plays.
Yep.
So a solid year.
Yeah, definitely had a nose for the ball. So, and then we get into the interior part of the line with defensive tackle. We've got SD Bryce Valdez and East Central's Parker Becknell. Just two absolute stalwarts. Talk a little bit about Valdez. As I had mentioned before, Ashcraft and Valdez really anchored that, really good SD line. On a pretty even year for the Knights, they were in even the games with Lawrenceburg and East Central. Anybody that wanted to listen, that East Central game was a lot closer than, that final score indicated, with a couple big fourth down conversions by the Trojans in that late tutty before halftime. You take those plays out, and boy, we got a different ball game. And then we saw them have the Tigers on the ropes, which was probably one of the more exciting games of the year. The credit had to have gone to that defensive line holding that high-powered Tiger offense at bay for most of the game.
They made the Tiger offense uncomfortable all night. I mean, the Tigers, scored that TD at the end, but they bothered Yoon the whole – I mean, he didn't have the passing lanes to throw. They were rushing him. They were bottling up the running game. And those two guys really contributed to that performance.
Yep, and then talking a little bit about Parker Beck now. Again, Coach Gassner and Coach Myers had very high praise for this young man, and I'm looking, obviously, anytime you are one of the top probably 10 defenses in the state, it starts up front. And Parker was a big part of that. So now let's get back to the linebacking crew. You want?
Did we talk? Did we talk who the second team was on the defensive tackles?
I don't think we did. Good. No, I apologize, William. Go ahead.
I got to keep you in line.
I know. Thank you, buddy.
Second team defensive tackles, we have Lawrenceburg Tiger, Colton Roth, and we have East Central's Luke Dahl.
Yes.
You want to talk about those guys a little bit?
Yeah. Now, Colton Roth, I actually played, I believe, against his father. I think he was a player for Harrison, but they, between and Coach Kaniga has talked and Coach Warsh talked glowingly about Colton Roth, this year. I said that he had a very solid year as far as controlling the line of scrimmage, and as far as East Central, Luke Dole, Coach Gassner again. It takes a whole group to do well, and Dole did definitely his part. He understood the scheme, and a big part of the lineman up front for East Central was keeping those bodies off those elite linebackers that the Trojans had, and they did what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
But let's talk about those linebackers now.
How about those linebackers?
All right. Well, hey, this group here, I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of fun. When going into preseason, Coach Gassner said, this East Central group had the chance to go down as the greatest linebacking core East Central's ever had. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think they disappointed.
No. So you weren't a linebacker then, right? Because then you would have been the greatest linebacker.
It's not a linebacker.
Okay. No, but you're right. What's funny is when we first went for the preseason to interview Coach Miners and some of the players, you had told me that we're going to interview number 33. So I was like, oh, we're just interviewing the guy that holds your old number. But you said it was Colville. And we got there. He's an imposing figure, good size. And then the first game of the year, I saw the kid play, and I was like, oh, okay. Now I see. I mean, he was sideline to sideline making plays all over the field against Lawrenceburg, and that just really continued all year on both sides of the ball, really.
And not only play, but dominate.
Yeah.
I mean, he's laying people out. But get to touch base on the first teamers. I don't think it's any, big surprise. First team, we had Colville from East Central, Nate Griffin for East Central, and then Lawrenceburg's Noah Roulette. Talking about Cole and Nate, absolutely tremendous careers. Those two will absolutely be taking their game to the next level in college. And, I can't enough about Nate and Cole. I mean, they were all over the field making plays for obviously a top 10 defense in the state. And literally they made everybody around them good, if not great. Nate would definitely get everybody in the right position, make the right calls. Cole continually delivered knockout punches. But those two guys were very athletic, smart, heady players. And those were absolutely a ton of fun to watch. And Noah Roulette, I believe he was one of our big stick winners.
He was.
And Coach Warsh said that he had just continually got better each game. And, we saw that, between Coach Warsh and then obviously, Mooch, coaching the linebackers. They couldn't talk, enough about how good Noah had performed and continually got better.
Do you know what class he is?
He's a senior.
Is he a senior? Okay.
Yeah, he's a senior. So, but a tremendous career, and it was a lot of fun to watch all those linebackers play. Now let's talk about a little bit about the second team linebackers. The third one in the East Central linebacking crew, which we called the ISO killer, was Carson Davis. And he didn't win a big stick, but he could have very easily won some big sticks because he was blowing up the fullback on those ISOs they were running. And that was a lot of fun for us to watch on those game film.
Yeah.
And then the other two linebackers, we had Lawrenceburg's Jake Pierce, and then also South Dearborn's Kenneth McGill. Any other normal year, I think we could have made a case for maybe Pierce to sneak in there at the first team, because I think he had an outstanding year.
Yeah, we heard and saw a lot of him this year. I think, did he get the big stick one week?
I think he did. Get a stick 1 week. So and in any other normal year, I think he sneaks in there too. But again, and then Kenneth McGill, talking about that SD defense, he was a big part of that. Obviously, anything that the big boys, Ashcraft and Valdez, didn't get, McGill would clean up, and it was a lot of fun to watch that defense play. So let's talk a little bit about the quarterbacks, William. Who do we got?
So on the first team, we have Eric Perkins from East Central and Cooper Hoog, also from East Central. So it looks like we awarded, obviously East Central, like you had mentioned, had a top 10 defense in the state, and those DBs just locked receivers down all year.
And this just for people thinking about Eric Perkins and Cooper Hogue, I just to look at the first game of the year with Lawrenceburg, high power offense with Patel and Gilmore. Do you remember them having any big pass plays in that? Yeah, and that's a credit to that secondary for East Central. They did their job. They were tremendous all year. Shutting down a lot of big time players, and hats off to that whole secondary. And Perkins and Hogue was a big part of that.
Yep. And
these two of my more favorite guys too to watch. And again, any normal year, I think they would have a case to be first teamers. Was Brendan Bushman and Drake Peaks. Bushman absolutely played, phenomenal cornerback. He was actually very close to winning one of our big sticks, earlier in the year. Definitely had a nose for the ball, wasn't afraid to mix it up.
And I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah, junior.
Is he? I think he's a sophomore.
Yes, okay. So he's got a lot of years to get on that first team R&R team. And then Drake Peets. Let's talk about a little bit about Drake. Our kind of our introduction to Drake was that Lawrenceburg game.
Yeah. So he had against Lawrenceburg. I think he had a big interception, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think he also had the big stick.
He did.
Yeah, so he had a couple of great plays in that game.
Oh, tremendous. And I think, even he would admit that maybe his game wasn't up to snuff the previous year.
Yeah.
And really excited about the opportunity to showcase what he could do in that game. And, boy, did he deliver, and almost having a monumental upset in leading the Knights over the Tigers. It didn't come to fruition, but, no fault of Drake, because he definitely did his part in that game.
Yeah.
Now this one here, the strong safety and free safety. This was the hardest one for us to do. And to be honest with you, you can make a case on that second team. This was really hard because I'm not going to lie. You can really, we might just do it. There might not be a second. We might do a first teamers on strong safety because this was just too close to call. And these two guys played elite all year. And that was
hey, this is the All R&R team, so we make our own rules.
That's right. Well, Sam Ringer and Jace Bohan absolutely are deserving. Uh, they just played at elite levels. I mean, you basically, those two were all over the ball. Literally, Sam for East Central was the ringleader of that tough secondary. Just a phenomenal athlete, and probably the most well-conditioned athlete in the whole county.
So you said Sam Ringer was the ringleader?
Yeah.
That was very nice.
Oh,
Did you practice that last night?
It just comes naturally, William. Sam Ringer, and then Jace Bohan. We had the opportunity to watch him throughout, pretty much from halfway through the year till the playoffs. And boy, he was just all around the ball. It seemed like every play. And then and then also, if he wasn't defending the pass, I mean, he would stick his nose right in there and pop people, which was it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, good hard-nosed player.
Yeah, and then as far as free safety, R&R favorite first teamer, we've got Bailey Whitelock.
Mm-hmm.
Beast, and watching his game film and getting the chance to talk to him a few different times preseason, and then when we had him over at my house, he was just a very humble guy, and basically very grateful for anything and everything and any opportunity that was thrown his way.
I feel like, I don't think we asked Rand about this, but I would say Rand would probably say he's the type of player that brings energy to a team that is contagious.
Oh,
that's just what looking from the outside in, that's what I see. And, a great player too, but brings great energy.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's very passionate, and it showed on the field, on Friday nights. And the second team is Luke Pierce, and again, Luke, phenomenal job. He had basically a nose for the ball all year too. And it was fun to watch that Lawrenceburg secondary. And the great thing about their secondary is they're all underclassmen. So they're all coming back with Bohan, Gilmore, Pierce, and Bushman. That's going to be a very secondary next year.
So do the Trojans come into the pit next year?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, because I want to kind of do a little recap at the end. But we'll talk about that here in a second here, William. But let's talk about, the special teams real quick. Special teams, we got punter. We've got Dakota Roth as our first teamer. Second team, this is a little off kilt. But he didn't get a play, but a handful of games. But I got to say, Jake Fike was very impressive for the limited time we've got to watch him punt. He's very impressive.
I'm going to fully admit I didn't really pay attention too much to the punters this year. Yeah. Maybe next year.
Well, hey, you did pay attention when I called out was it the Rushville?
That's true. That poor kid.
Hey, that kid did not make our list.
No.
All right. As far as kicking, I've got to give the hats off to East Central's kicker, Sophie Browndyke. Absolutely been stellar, and I believe she is an underclassman. I think we get her another year, which is going to be good for the Trojan faithful. And then second team, we gave it to Lawrenceburg's Joey Hibbert. I think he had a very solid year. As we got in the playoffs, we were looking a little bit at the, where we had some mismatches against the Franklin County Wildcats. And I believe Hibbert had put a big check mark over on the Lawrenceburg side in that matchup.
Yeah, well, with Sophie Browndyke, it's kind of cool because we're doing this on today, the day where I believe it's the first female kicker in NCAA history is kicking for Vanderbilt.
I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know if she has any aspirations of kicking at the next level, but, hey, it can be done.
Yeah, we may ask her that next year. So,
yeah.
And then getting to our there's one other position that seems to be a kind of a spot where a lot of people now name basically they call it the athlete position. Okay. Now, the athlete position is just basically just overall do-it-all kind of guy. Typically, you only get one spot, but I'm telling you right now that Sam Ringer, he can do it all. He's probably the most well-conditioned athlete in the county, and he can play any position, anywhere, anytime. And that's going to be our first teamer. And our second teamer is another R&R favorite, one Willoughby. Yes, that guy. We gave him, preseason. I believe we gave him we gave him the nickname the Swiss Army knife.
I think you kind of cut out there a little bit. So can you say Reese Willoughby?
Reese Willoughby. Yes.
What? Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're gonna rename this award the Mike Roope Award. Exactly, because you played both ways last year, so I feel like that would be,
If think if that's William.
We'll name an award after me at some point.
There you go. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and name our offensive MVP and our defensive MVP. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anyone.
No.
Now go ahead and name them, William.
Okay, so our offensive MVP is Mr. Garrett Yoon. We've already talked glowingly about him. Just looking forward to what he's going to do next year. Like I said, great year this year, but another off season with a sour taste in his mouth from that loss. I expect monster things from him.
He's literally the high school version of Lamar Jackson. He is a dual threat in every sense.
2019 Lamar Jackson, not 2020.
That's exactly. And then defensive wise, who do we got, William?
Oh, we've got Mr. Colville.
And I don't think that's anybody's surprise either. I mean, this guy was an absolute beast, laying people out week in, week out, and just literally, even when the Trojans were shorthanded at the end of the year, almost willing his team to victory, basically carrying it upon himself offensively and then defensively making a ton of big time plays. But, a lot of fun watching these two guys. I don't know about you. It would be hard-pressed in the state to find two players that did put up such great numbers as these two.
And just, we got to talk to both this year, both just nice kids to talk to, On the flips, looking forward to watching Garrett play next year, but I will miss watching Cole play,
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind he will be playing at the next level, and I'm excited to see what he does at the next level because, he just loves the game of football and it so. But talking a little bit as we put a nice little bow on this season, just a tremendous year. Talk a little bit first about East Central. I've been beating on this drum all year. They have the toughest non-conference football schedule in the state. When you play Lawrenceburg, because they weren't supposed to play, that's a non-conference game, so to speak. You got Lawrenceburg, you've got Roncalli, which was just state champs, and then Chittard playing for a title today, and then you got obviously a GCL in the Moeller Crusaders. I mean, that schedule is second to none, and quite frankly, they should have won them all. So I mean, and I think if we don't live in the era of the pandemic and all that's going on in 2020, I think we might be naming the Trojans the state champs this year. Lawrenceburg, phenomenal year. Lots of high acrobatic, just gunslinging, running.
The greatest show on turf.
Hey, it really was the greatest show on turf, and I expect more of the same. They do lose Bird, but they've got Pierce coming in, and I don't think they're going to miss a beat. They do lose Ethan Paris, but I suspect they're going to be able to bring somebody else up. This team's going to be absolutely lights out next year. I'm expecting big things from the Tigers, and you know what? That if they do play the Trojans in week one, I have not confirmed that, William, but if they do play them, watch out this next year.
I think it'll be in the pit since they were at East Central last year. I would assume they'll come to Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, that'll be a big time game. And then last but not least was the Knights. The Knights had a lot of challenges this year. They were knocked back a little bit for the COVID, so it was hard for them to get traction all year because a lot of the stuff between the field, not playing at home, and then also the COVID, it just seemed like it was a lot of stop and going. But I will say this: the opening of the new Backman Field is only going to gain momentum for the team as far as getting more numbers out, more excitement. Coach Bauer's bringing a lot of excitement to the program, and it shows. I mean, those kids are passionate about it.
No, I got to know Coach Bauer this year, and I really think he's the right man for the job to take that South Dearborn program to the next level. And you're right. I mean, they started the year off having to go on the road. I think it was the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, those kids live to play at home in front of their home crowd on their home. Again, when they opened up, they were on the field turf. And then, they also they lost their star quarterback from last year and had to implement a new guy, sophomore. The stage, he played well at times, but obviously as a sophomore, that stage was probably too big for him at some point. But he'll build on that experience, and I expect him to come back next year, play well.
And then on a side note for all you viewers, William has a soft spot for Coach Ballard because he gave you a hug.
He did. He was the only coach out of the 3 that gave me a hug.
Boy, hey, really appreciate
That's R&R love.
Yeah. So, but again, guys, for everybody watching.
Oh my God, am I blushing now?
Hey, but for everybody watching at home, this was a lot of fun for William and I being able to cover Dearborn County football, and we're definitely all in for next year, and be watching for some new stuff. From William and I think we're going to have a couple new other awards we're going to be presenting, along with the 2 that we presented this year, which would be Willoughby Supply and D1. Could not ask for 2 better sponsors, and Danny Jefferson and Brad Fisher and what they've done for our show. But we look to get some awards for the big uglies. Up front, maybe some Pancake of the Week blocks, and maybe some primetime performers of some sort too. So I don't know. We'll think of.
And big props to Steve Gimmer for those T-shirts, those R&R T-shirts.
Anybody at home it's front and back. But if anybody's interested in an R&R,
oh, get up and do a twirl for us.
Oh, you want to do the
yeah.
We got
there. We go.
Yeah,
man.
But if anybody's looking for one of these shirts, reach out to William and I for a low price of $19.99. A nice holiday gift. But again, thank you to everybody that's been watching our show, giving us feedback. Also, if anybody out there watching wants to help sponsor the show, reach out to William and I. We definitely are looking to grow this thing to even bigger and better things.
All right. That's all I got.
William.
No, that's good. That's a good wrap.
Oh, all right. Well, guys, thanks again, and we appreciate it. Happy holidays to everybody. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.